What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rational Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Adam. Really happy to be here today. Today, I am going to be talking about Dave Chappelle. He just had a brand new Netflix special drop on Netflix called The Closer, and it was good. It's not the hardest I've ever laughed at Dave Chappelle, but I enjoyed it. There are some people who didn't enjoy it at all. They think he is going after the LGBTQAIP crowd, and he's going after trans people, and they're not happy about that. And listen, Dave Chappelle's a comedian. He's a very thoughtful comedian. I thought when I watched it, and I'll get to the video here in a second, my initial thought to this whole thing was that we have to, I'm glad that Dave Chappelle is saying what a lot of us think. That I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're bisexual. I don't care if you're trans. I don't care. Okay. If you're a good person, I'll be your friend. If you're not a good person, then I won't be your friend. But having said that, we cannot ignore the fact that gender and sex are a fact. They just are. Now, I don't know why a lot of these corporations, and good for Netflix for standing by Chappelle and not doing something weird, taking down his special or whatever. You know, good for them for doing that. But I don't know why the people that don't agree with that are so vehement that sexes and gender are not biological facts, because they are. They just are. Okay? But again, and I would almost bet every dollar I have, which is not a whole lot of dollars, but I would bet them all that Dave Chappelle feels the same way that we all feel. Do what you want to do with your life. Good for you. If it makes you happy and you're not hurting other people, do what you want to do. To your body, to your mind. Do what you want to do. But don't try to tell us that as a society that gender and sex are not biological facts when they are. Okay? That doesn't make me evil, doesn't make me a transphobe, doesn't make me any of those things. It makes me a rational person. Here we go.
The comedy police are at it again. Some critics now calling for comedian Dave Chappelle to be canceled for making jokes about transgender people. In his latest,
if you cancel Dave Chappelle, what's that even mean? He's already considered by some like one of the top goats of all time. He's got more money than it's. I mean, come on. I mean, cancel him to what? He doesn't need your approval.
This Netflix special. Here's a taste of what he said.
Canceled J.K. Rowling. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact. And then the trans community got mad. They started calling her a TERF.
Oh, yeah.
I'm team TERF. I agree, man. Gender is a fact.
Netflix says they stand by Dave. They will not be removing his content. So is this a win for comedy and free speech? Here with me in studio, comedian and host of Fox Across America on Fox News Radio every day from noon to 3 East Coast time, Jim Fala.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
I love this story so much because these people are so angry, and Chappelle doesn't care. He is smoking a yard of weed a day. He can't be canceled because
Did
Netflix...
he get the $24 million from Netflix for the special? Is
Yes,
that what he's
did.
making?
But
God bless him.
That's the insanity.
That's how you do it.
But that's the insanity of the whole thing, okay? Chappelle joked that the trans community is too sensitive. They're too thin-skinned. They responded by getting offended. This is like if I accused you of being an alcoholic and...
I want to be rational, and I want to be fair. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, as someone who doesn't deal with any gender dysphoria issues or anything like that, I'm a straight male. It's easier for me to sit here and say, well, stop being a baby. Maybe that is the right response. Maybe that is. But I really, on this channel, on this podcast, I really want to be the kind of person who really tries to see it from the other side's perspective. I think it's important. We don't do that near enough these days. But there's certain things we can't ignore as a society. And Dave Chappelle, I don't agree with everything he says. But again, he's a comedian. And it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. If you don't think it's funny, then watch something else. Turn it off. But to get all mad and butthurt about what a comedian says, that's silly, number one. Number two, to my original point, is, and I've already said this before, so I won't beat this drum too long, but we can't sit here as a society and ignore biological facts to make people's feelings feel better. To make people feel better, we are trying to bend genders. I don't know what would ultimately come of that, but it can't be good. You have to live in a society where we can agree on some things. Some basic, fundamental things to life. And gender being a fact is one of those fundamental truths to life. Period. Good for Chappelle and good for Netflix. Because Netflix has done some weird stuff too.
And your response was to chug a handle of Jim Beam.
And then barf in my own hand.
Yeah, again, we're back there again. But what people don't understand.
Hello, last night.
Hey, girl, that's so true. But what people don't understand is when you're making fun of any type of marginalized group, even if it's like the handicapped, okay, you're treating them as an equal. Like if you're at a live comedy
Good
show,
point.
you want to be made fun of because that means you're part of the thing. If you're sequestered off in the corner like this untouchable, we're actually treating you as like a lesser than. That's not equality. That's like infantilizing people. But to the point of scale, okay, because these executives.
I don't want to skip over that point. That's a great point he just made. And I have talked about this before with my friends. I don't really have friends. My brother and my wife, that whenever, and I was going to reiterate what he just said, whenever everyone has to be able to be made fun of. Now, because intent matters. Intent matters. If you're just going after someone maliciously because of their sexuality or their race or whatever, that's not okay. Now, I don't think you should go to jail for it. You know, I think that should all be protected under the First Amendment rights. But, you know, if they're being just a straight up asshole to people and being malicious, then, you know, that's going to be frowned upon. But Dave didn't do that. Dave Chappelle didn't do that at all. He was actually, his special was almost one long joke about this, and I won't give it away, but there's a story that he told about someone who was opening for him who was a trans woman. And it was very thoughtful, it was very funny, and it was real. And it came from a place of being able to, like, he basically made the point that we have to be able to make fun of these people, and not out of some place of malice, but out of a place of, you're one of us. If you want to be considered equal, if you want to be one of us, then be one of us. You can't say normalize trans this, normalize gay this and gay that, but then whenever you get made fun of, just like the rest of us, because of your, like, the stereotypes, then that's part of it. Being made fun of is part of the deal. You cannot take yourself off the table when it comes to being able to be made fun of. And I thought he did a good job of that.
Not executives, but these Netflix workers that are storming into executive meetings and stuff
Yes.
like that, and they want him to be canceled. Like, your emotional inconvenience is not worth someone else's $24 million. Like, if people lost their mind, and the whole point of comedy is we're joking. It's not a hate crime. And everybody watching at home, they need to know this. This is how you're supposed to treat comedy. You're supposed to treat it like it's a buffet. Everybody gets a tray. If you like a joke, you throw it on your tray. If you don't like it, no need to stop and hold up the line. Everybody gets their own tray. But everyone has become that other thing where I don't even believe they're offended. Like, do you on some level think that people have been incentivized to get mad because they'll garner currency for doing it? So it's not so much that they're mad at Chappelle, but they know they'll gain relevance from saying they're mad. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's where we are right now.
Well, and in a way, everyone has to be special.
You know what? Whenever I get mad about something that happens culturally, whatever, I just stop watching that thing or stop listening to that band or that whatever. I don't go get online and start crying for this TV show to be canceled or this person to lose their livelihood. I mean, come on. Like, That's so childish. And it kind of shows the emotional instability of these types of people who get super butthurt over these types of issues. I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. Like, if I'm missing something, I always want people to comment in the comment section to let me know why I'm wrong.
Special. So if there were people at Netflix who were offended or who were aggrieved, if they're getting publicity, that makes them special.
Yes.
And so they don't have to sit down and write an entire comedy set and get paid a bunch of money for their original ideas. They can just get mad and kind of throw a tantrum, which ultimately I don't think really helps their side. But
no,
I do think Dave Chappelle brings up a good and tough point, which, to me, as a woman having birthed children, there's something really special about being a woman.
Yes.
But I also have a bunch of trans friends who are targeted, who have higher incidence of suicide, and I feel protective of them.
I agree, but I don't think jokes are hate crimes, and I think they're being conflated as such. I think for a lot of people, comedy is a coping mechanism. You joke about things in society that are controversial to take away the torment some of these issues have over you from moments at a time. And that's why no one's ever going to be at a party and be like, oh, I can't wait till the guy that gets offended at everything shows up. Because you want to know why? That guy doesn't get invited to parties. Okay, with all due respect to him and the outrage mob. And of course, I empathize with birthing persons such as yourself.
Sure.
Okay, I have
my chest feeding.
Yeah,
Did
he just call her a birthing person? Come on, man. Surely that's a joke.
I empathize with birthing persons such as yourself.
Sure.
Okay, I have
my
consideration.
chest feeding.
Yeah,
a lot of chest feeding.
A lot of chest feeding back in the day. But
if I could have delegated some of that chest feeding, things might be slightly different right now.
But back to motherhood for a minute.
You know what? You and your white penis, very easy for you to say. Like ivory tower. But for the rest of us busting our humps over here.
I told you to delete that text message. I resent this on live television.
Another
so
trip
stupid.
to Human Resources tomorrow
Here we go
morning.
again.
Big Jim Fela, every day, Fox Across America. Listen for him and love him.
I mean, they're right. I mean, because just to break this down, and then I'll get out of here because this is seems like pretty obvious stuff. I think there was a overreaction to trans people, or an overreaction on trans people's part. No, let me walk this back for a second because I want to get this right. I think initially, it's kind of like women, decades ago when they couldn't vote and things like that, right? They were fighting for certain rights, and they got those rights. So now, I believe in feminism in that sense. Like if there's something like on the books, if there's something holding a woman back that's not letting her do, or at least have the opportunity to do something that like a man can do, that's not okay. That's where, when you talk about being a feminist, wanting equal rights for women, I'm on board with that. I mean, who's not on board with the equal opportunity for things, right? Now, do trans people, and have they had these same types of issues? Now, I don't know if they've never had the right to vote and things like that, but maybe the right to get married. I don't know. Has that been an issue? Like, again, I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to what rights they have or don't have. But I will say this. This isn't about that. This is about a comedian making jokes, very thoughtful jokes. And honestly, what I think they're most mad about is the things that he's actually not joking about. The things like gender is a fact. They hate that so much that someone of his stature, someone that carries as much weight culturally to be able to convince people of things, when they're saying things that goes against everything that they stand for, which is gender is a fact. They don't believe that. For whatever reason, they don't believe in biology when it comes to those types of things. So I think it's weird, but those are things we got to fight against. Now, I don't mean we need to fight against trans people and make things vile, and I don't want to start some cultural war, but I just think the adults in this country need to speak out against these things when they're trying to tell us that gender is not a fact, that gender is malleable, because it's not. Yeah, I sound like a bigot. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I hope you guys have a good day. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're new. I put out a video Monday through Friday. So see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.